Hi there. This is Cheryl Richardson, and I'm going to see if this time it works. um, anyway, hi. How are you? I'm here for Facebook Live after a couple of weeks. I'm glad to be here and glad to join you on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in the northeast of Massachusetts. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. It's while I was away in Ireland, I understand that it was very hot and humid here the whole time, and I'm really grateful to be back and to have the weather be um, warm, but not too warm, and sunny and not humid. Very grateful for that. Hi, Terry. Thanks. I'm glad you're here. And Lisa and Joel, welcome. And Julie, hi. Hi, Diana and Dawn. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm glad you like waking up in winter, Dawn. That's great. You just started it. And Alexandra, thank you. Welcome back, she says, and I'm very glad to be back. Hi, Julie. Julie says I'm so excited to come to Maine. I'm assuming you mean the self-care retreat, and then I'm excited to see you. I'm glad. The retreat's doing really well. As I said in the newsletter, it's half of it is already sold out, and we haven't even started marketing it. And so, if you want to join us, be sure to check out go to CherylRichardson.com, and you'll see you can read all about it. And I'll post a link here as well. I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be with you and to talk with you tonight and to answer some of your questions and to offer you some live coaching like I typically do during these Facebook Lives. I am just back from Ireland, and I don't even know how to begin saying, I guess tonight's topic, I think, is going to be about travel, wildness, and what it means to visit the land of your ancestors. And then, so I'll say a little bit about that. I think that's what I'm going to talk about. I never know for sure. And then we will, I'll get to your questions and coaching. So Ireland, I was there for 10 days. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. A lot of my family ancestry is from Ireland. My dad was all Irish. My mom is half Irish, half Italian. And so in the Cork area and Galway area and Waterford are the sort of counties, the areas where my family is from. And it was really quite special to be there. I'll say that if you've ever dreamt of going to Ireland, and I've wanted to go for many, many years, it's so worth it to go. From the day we were there to the day we left, I would say that it was just an amazing experience. So much beauty. The land is incredible. The people are so warm and so funny and welcoming and just familiar. I don't know if it's because I'm Irish or because that's just how it is for everybody. The food was amazing. The pub food, especially, home cooked, just delicious, clean, fresh. And the land, I mean, just Connemara National Park, Glendalough, these beautiful forests and ancient trees, and the Burren with its limestone rock. And it's a really magical place. And it was magical the whole time. And I understand there's a kind of elemental energy in Ireland that I don't even think, I was going to say, if you're open to it, you'll experience it. But the beauty of Ireland is, I don't even think you have to be open to it and you'll experience it. So it was really special. And I want to go back. I look forward to going back. And as I said in my newsletter this week, I want to host a retreat there or a weekend workshop or something. I definitely want to go back and just sort of establish some kind of, I don't know, some kind of psychic roots there where I can get to know the place and the people and interact with some of you who have been following me from there. I would love that. And I know it's so much more accessible to come to Ireland from England and Scotland than it is to come over here. So it might be a nice way to bridge both places. So I can't say enough about going. And if you didn't see the photos from my trip, please scroll down or go to Coach on Call at Instagram. That's my username over there. I posted lots of pictures, lots of different experiences, abbeys and ruins and cathedrals and flowers and countryside and animals, sheep and cows. And it's everything I love. And there is a wildness to the land in Ireland, a wildness to the places that we visited. There's a way in which, and this is, I guess, part of what I want to talk about. There's a way in which a friend of mine said the land is animated there, and I thought that's such a beautiful way of expressing it. It feels like the land in Ireland is animated with some kind of special energy, a kind of force or power. Every place I went, every time I was outside, I felt that way. And when we are in the presence of that kind of energy, and sometimes especially when it's visiting a new place, whether it's a new country or a new town near you, or a new state that you might travel to, a new experience you might have, there's a way in which it changes us and it unleashes unexpressed parts of us. And I found that in Ireland, being in nature, hiking, walking through the woods, walking through the forests over there, looking at old ancient trees, the animals, the birds, all of that. There's a way in which there was a kind of, I still can't even quite articulate it, but there's a kind of energy that there's a kind of wild energy within me. Well, let me just say this. So this is going to go into the other part of the topic, which is we're so deeply impacted by nature, and we're also impacted by our history, whether you realize it or not. And being in Ireland helped me to understand my father, my mother, my family, the family dynamics I grew up in, and the kind of ancestry, the psychological influence of my ancestry in a way that I certainly didn't expect, and felt very, very much influenced by. There is a beautiful wildness about the Irish people, like a rebelliousness or a kind of maverick nature I found in the people. I don't want to say that about all Irish people because that's stupid. I don't know all Irish people, but there was the people that I did meet and interact with. There was a kind of boldness and authenticity that I really, really appreciated, and a commitment to truth and a commitment to what's real that I appreciated so much. And I felt like it awakened those energies inside of me as well. And so I came home less able to hold pretense, more committed than ever to my experience of nature, being in nature, more appreciating what I love about animals and birds, and walking in the forest and water and all of that sort of stuff, my yard and the animals. It's interesting to me, no coincidence. If you are not on Instagram, I'll try and remember to post it on Facebook. When I came home a couple of days after I was home, this giant great horned owl showed up in my yard, up in a tree. I've never seen one on my property. I know they're here, but I've never seen one during the day. I hear them all the time at night, but I never saw one. And there it sat for like a good hour and a half up in a tree. It was just stunning. And I thought, there is an energy that was that I experienced and that was kind of released in me that I'm sure called that owl to me. And I'll be curious to see what other kinds of animals. Hummingbirds have been all over the place the last couple of days, more hummingbirds than I've ever seen here on the property. So there's a way in which when we understand, I think especially when we go back to our homeland, there's a way in which it awakens something ancient and true and important in us. And, we're influenced, as I said, we're influenced by our ancestry. in ways that we're often not conscious of. And when suddenly you find yourself immersed, finding myself immersed in that energy of my ancestry helped me to see myself. It kind of mirrored parts of me that I hadn't been mirrored before, and I'm grateful for that. A lot of times, I've worked with clients for many, many years, especially doing the tapping therapy, where we've looked at the places where they've been stuck and how it relates to their history and their ancestry. In other words, how your father's fear about let's just say how your father's fear about how you might carry your father's fear about money, or how you might carry your mother's insecurity about her worth, or how you might carry your grandparents' reaction to the depression, or their depression, their anxiety. Like, not only do we carry some of the genetic predisposition, but energetically and psychically, we carry the predisposition. We have a predisposition to the ancestors, to the people that came before us. And when we're healing, when we're trying to get unstuck, it's really important to not only look at in present day, what are the beliefs that I'm holding, what kind of present day history for me is influencing my stuckness, what are the obstacles to me moving forward. But it's also important for us to look at what are the historical obstacles, what are the beliefs that my family held, my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, their ancestors. What beliefs did they hold? What beliefs might have been formed for them based on the history they grew up in? And how do those ancestral beliefs, how do you still carry them today in your life? It's something really worth looking at. You can certainly, by talking to your parents if they're still alive, talking to grandparents, getting a sense of the messages that they received. Like, I remember my mom, when I was writing Stand Up for Your Life, I was very fortunate to have a luncheon with my mother and her brothers and sisters. And I was talking to them about, what are some of the beliefs you grew up with that prevented you from taking a stand for yourself? And I remember them all saying that they grew up with parents that were really, really concerned about what other people thought. So they always had to kind of manage their behaviors and their choices and decisions based on what other people thought. And, I had been doing that all my life. And so it helped me to understand that wasn't only just my personal history that was causing me to do that, but it was ancestral history. I was just carrying on the psychological lineage. And it's important for us to look at how we do that as a pathway towards healing and getting unstuck and unhooking ourselves from some of those old messages. So when I talk about wildness, for myself, I'll just say that if you're always so worried about what other people think or managing the perception of others, there are wild energies within you that are going to have a hard time being expressed. There are ways in which I don't know, I can't even think of examples because I'm still processing it, but there are ways in which my own deep passion for nature and animals and the earth and just the truth about that, or the influence of that, needs to be expressed more fully and more passionately in my life. And here's another example for me. I came back from Ireland with such a deep commitment to cultivating the presence of beauty in my life every day. Like today, in the middle of a day, I had a busy day catching up. I'm catching up in my office. I had some client calls that I was doing, some different things I needed to respond to. But in the middle of the day, I thought, no, I'm going out for a walk, and I'm going for a walk in this particular part of my neighborhood where I'll see lots of trees and lots of birds and lots of animals. And because I am committed to being exposed to the beauty of nature and things like, teacups, this beautiful little teacup that was given to me as a gift by my husband from he had it sent over from Fortnum and Mason's in London, because I love some of the, the china, the teacups that they have over there. drinking tea out of that instead of a kind of boring mug because it's beautiful. And using perfume that I got at the Burren Perfumery in Ireland, which is just like a magical, magical place. Some of you might be familiar with it. Using that as a way to kind of keep the beauty of senses available to me. Like, so there's a wildness in beauty. There is a wildness in this notion that beauty is a powerful healing force that we need to be exposed to on a regular basis. And it's a wildness that I choose to express more, and a kind of rebellious nature that I choose to express more. And that was an energy that felt released from my trip to Ireland. And so I wonder about what kind of energies in you that you may be conscious of want to be expressed more. What kind of wildness in you wants to be expressed? I'd be curious to hear. Feel free to put it in the comment section. I'll read them as I start to go through taking your questions. You know, what is it that you want to express more of in your life? Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of beauty, I want to tell you about, so, you know, pretty much every week I get people who will send me things, books, manuscripts, all kinds of things that they would like for me to look at or to maybe endorse or to quote for. And, you know, honestly, I wish, I love supporting people. I got a lot of support in my career as an early writer, you know, growing up as a writer. And so I really like to support people. And I wish I could read everything, but I can't. But what I do is I pay attention to the things that speak to me and I grab them. And so here I am making this commitment to bringing more beauty into my life. And I pay attention to what the universe does. Because when we make a commitment like that, when we say, okay, here's a wild energy that wants to be expressed, and I'm making a commitment to let that be expressed more in my life, you will find evidence of that showing up. And so today I start going through my mail and I open up this package, and in it is this book. Now, I don't know the author and I don't know the publisher, but I have to say I was really blown away. So it's called The Illustrated Herbiary by, I think it's Maia. I think that's how you pronounce it, Maia Toll. If any of you know her, let her know about this. The Illustrated Herbiary, Guidance and Rituals, 36 Bewitching Botanicals. So this book, it's a hardcover book, and it's really, it's beautiful. But here's what's awesome about it. It has the most amazing illustrations in it. Like really, so it has 36 different herbs, elderberry, comfrey, want to make sure, let's see, reishi mushrooms. So different sort of plants and herbs in it with illustrations for each. And then in the back, I mean, look at this awesome owl. Can you see that? There we go. Just it's so well done. It's high quality. And then in the back of the book, it has this envelope. And when you open the envelope up, let me see. When you open the envelope up, inside are 36 cards. Let me see if I can pull this out. 36 cards. So it's beautiful on the back. I love the back of the cards. And then on the front, it has the illustrations from the book. And you can break them up into cards. It's a card deck, 36 cards. And you can pull a card. You get a particular herb and you look it up and you read the message that it has. The writing is very, anyway, I just want to say that Maia Toll, I don't know who you are, but you did a really, really wonderful job on this thing. And I am so looking for, I started reading it today and I loved the writing. Every single chapter tells you, like, here's Daisy. And it tells you a little bit about the message of Daisy. And then when you turn the page, it has, so the message is be kind to yourself. The reflection is move toward your truth. And it tells you what the daisy means. And specifically, what you might want to do to bring more of that energy into your life. And it's, I don't know, I loved it. You know, I love nature, as you know, and I love plants. And I love how beautiful this book is and how the pages, just the whole thing is just It's like an adult children's book, and it's just awesome. And so I wanted to share that with you. I'll put a link to it. This is going to be one of my go-to gifts for the holidays for sure, because it's a gift of beauty. And I think it's a very cool way to learn about herbs and to teach people about themselves. So brava, Maia Toll. I hope that's how I say your name. Brava, you did a really wonderful job with this book, and I think it's gorgeous. So, okay, let's get to your questions, shall we? Let's see here. Yeah, so Dawn wants to know, will you buy a home in Ireland? One of the pictures I posted on Instagram was this amazing little cottage. It was like a stone building that was pretty much falling apart. But Michael and I drove by it. I forget where it was. It was coming out of, I think it was in the Burren somewhere, or south of the Burren. And it was just a beautiful place in the middle of this greenery. You can see a picture on Instagram. And and on Facebook, if you look below, you'll see it. And I said to Michael, God, wouldn't it be awesome to buy a place, fix it up, make it a writing sanctuary, and also make it a place where I could invite people to come for workshops. And he loved the idea too, which is pretty good. So I'm holding that as a possibility for sure. We shall see. My fingers are crossed. If you have good property in Ireland, let me know. Yes, Diane says, love the lack of fencing and the ability to openly walk. Seems so open and wide when I was there. It's true. And so green, absolutely. So let's see. Hi, Tammy from Australia. Oh, Kit says, through DNA testing, I found out I'm 85% Irish. Want to see where my ancestors came from. Loved your pics. Thank you. I'm glad you did, Kit. And I did the DNA testing too and found out that that I was, I think it's 65% Irish and Iberian and Italian, of course. It's interesting to do the DNA testing, isn't it? Really interesting. All right. So Ron wants to know, did I ever research Ancestry.com? No, but what I did was Michael and I hired this amazing woman. Her name is Megan Smolenyak, who was a genealogist who she was, I believe, one of the experts used by the PBS show, Who Do You Think You Are? I'm pretty sure that was a show. And she did, for my father's 80th birthday, we gave him the gift of a genealogy book. It's an expensive gift. I mean, she did extensive research about both my mom and my dad. For my mother's 80th birthday, we did the same thing. So I had all of the genealogy that was available for, in the Irish, and my mother's side, prior to like the early 1800s, they were Catholic and there weren't a lot of records. So we went back as far as we could. And I did follow the genealogy over there, Ron. It was really awesome. Okay. So, yeah, Candace says, thank you, Cheryl. This is very valuable. The ancestral lineage, obstacles and decisions, really important. I remember a woman I was working with, a Jewish woman who kept reaching a certain level of success in her business. And then everything would fall apart she couldn't get beyond a certain point. And in doing some coaching together and some tapping, what we discovered was she had relatives that had been a part of the Nazi Germany, in the concentration camps, had been, murdered in the concentration camps. And there was this very strong message that it was unsafe to be seen and unsafe to be successful, to be present. And boy, I'll tell you, we did some tapping and some work around that lineage, that ancestral psychic messages that really just completely opened things up for her in a significant way. That was one of the first times I really learned about the power of tapping and the importance of including the ancestral messages and lineage information into my work as a coach. Really, it's important. It's key. So anyway, let's see. Hey, Jerry, nice to see you. Thank you. Yeah, and so Julie says, I crave fun and laughter and just letting loose, like back in our day when we would go out dancing. So there's a great example of energy that wants to be released and expressed. And Julie, if I were you, I would find a place to go dancing ASAP. I don't even care if you go by yourself. Just find a place where you can go and move your body unselfconsciously and let that energy come out. It'll be it'll be awesome. I'm telling you. Um, it doesn't matter if you're good at it. She says, nobody dances anymore. I'm not good at it. Actually, people do dance, but in your life, if you're not dancing, you're not going to see a lot of people who are dancing. And then you're going to make decisions about that just aren't true. They're just stories in your head. I know plenty of people that are dancing all the time. Okay. Yes. Diane, forest bathing. Good idea. Jess says, I want to be able to express myself in a book without fear of being too personal. Well, in the beginning, as a writer, you need to write everything you want to write. You put everything down on paper. You don't have to worry about being too personal. You don't have to worry about what you should share, what you shouldn't share. Editors will help you with that. And you can hire your own editor to help you with that. An experienced editor will know when there's too much information, if it's too personal, if it's not relevant. But in the beginning, as a writer, you must release the stories, the examples, the wisdom that wants to be told without any kind of censorship, personal censorship at all. So I would say, Jess, go for it. Go for it, woman. All right. Yes. Okay, Jackie. Yay for gardening and teaching others to connect with nature. That's profound sacred work. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so Cindy says, what I want to express more of in my life is in line with you, nature, animals, birds, beauty in all forms, growing herbs and learning more about them, and essential oils. That book is gorgeous. It is, Cindy, you will love it. I also want to express my feelings through art and not worry about what people will think of me. The only way to not worry about what people will think of you is to put your art out in the world and deal with the people who think things you don't like. I mean, I've written 7 books. Go on Amazon, look at my negative reviews. There's a first for an author, right? Go look at my negative reviews. In the beginning, they were soul crushing and really hard, but it didn't stop me from writing. And it didn't stop me from making my art. And by my 7th book, Waking Up in Winter is a memoir. It's a journal. And there's a lot of people who are like, you're crazy, you're a self-help writer, you should write self-help books. This isn't a good idea. But it was the art that I wanted to create. It was the art that I wanted to bring to the world. And I knew that there were some people that weren't going to appreciate it. And there are some people who don't appreciate it, but there's a whole bunch of people who do. And there's a whole bunch of people who, Cindy, will appreciate your art. And the only way you're going to learn how to just deal with the reaction of people who don't is to just face that reaction and watch yourself get strong enough to move through it. And you will. Today, if I get a negative review on Amazon or somebody writes something, yeah, it bothers me. And you know what? I hope it always bothers me. I want to be sensitive. I want to care about people. I want my heart to be open. But the amount of time it takes for me to recover is this short compared to what it used to be. Oh, negative review. Oh, they didn't like it. Oh, that feels horrible. On to the next thing. That's about the time frame. So it gets better, Cindy. You will worry about what other people think, but it's how you deal with that that matters. Then you'll get over it. You'll be okay. All right. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down. Belinda wants to know, did you and Michael travel on your own in Ireland or did you take a tour? Michael and I went with 4 other friends, and we had a driver with who was a tour guide because we did not want to drive in a foreign country on the other side of the road. And so we all chipped in together and paid for a driver to take us and teach us he stayed with us for the 7 days. So that's how we did it. And it was awesome. And I have a great, great guide. If anybody needs one, email me and I will, I'll share his name with you because he was awesome. And I'd love to support him in any way I can. Yes, Sally, go to Cork. It's a great place. Maybe we're related. um, let's see. Okay, so Kat says, what's your best advice for someone who's getting ready to launch a coaching business? The coaching is based on authentic living. Thank you. Okay. My best advice is to make a list of 25 people that you feel you could really make a difference with in your life, in their lives. Offer to coach them for free for 90 days. Tell them that the three things they have to agree to are they have to show up for the call and be on time as if they were paying thousands of dollars. They have to work their butt off, take action consistently to achieve the things they want to achieve as they're working with you. And then if it's helpful to them and it makes a difference in their lives, to please let other people know about it. That's how I'd start, Kat. That's how I started. That was the advice my coach gave me in the very beginning, and it really worked beautifully. So anyway, good luck to you with that. Yes, family constellation work deals with ancestral patterns. Big fan of family constellation work, which is about, there are some people who, for example, create workshops where you can recreate different family dynamics, family situations with a group of people to re-experience things, to kind of see, to re-experience different scenarios in your family or in your ancestry in real time, so that you can see more clearly what your reactions are, where your reactions are based and what healing needs to be done. And oftentimes some powerful healing happens as a result of doing that. I've done that over the years. We didn't call it constellation work years ago when I did it, that's what it was. So yeah, Candace, if you have Native American as your history, you absolutely want to look at your ancestry around that. It's going to have a powerful impact on all that you do, without a doubt. Tamara, thank you. Anybody who has great movies related to Ireland, she has suggests Dare to Be Wild, about an Irish woman, Mary Reynolds. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that. And I'm going to find it and probably watch it tonight, Tamara. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. And ordering a piece of art that you think is beautiful, great idea. Even if it's impractical, if you can afford it, go for it. Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you liked Waking Up in Winter. Thank you, Julie. Thank you all. You're so, see, you know what I have to say as a writer, it's really helpful to hear that. I mean, that's why I always say to people, if you liked Waking Up in Winter, or if you liked one of my books, or you like somebody's book, it's wonderful to put a review on Amazon, even if it's one line, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it encourages other people to check it out. But the authors are always reading them, and I love, it helps me to know, okay, this kind of book did resonate with people. I mean, I get emails, and I'm so grateful for that. And it's wonderful to hear it here. Thank you, Lori, for saying that. And thank you, Julie. Excuse me, and Lisa. I really appreciate that a lot. It's good to know. Okay. Let's see. So now I'm just looking for questions. Oh, thanks, John. Or Katrina. Katrina, I know, I always think it's John, but it's Katrina. I know who you are. Thank you. Okay, this is a beautiful community. Okay, so if you have any questions, otherwise I'll wrap up. I'm just looking back to see. Yeah, okay. So here, okay, Kathy, with creating your own coaching program, do you think that it's essential to be certified first, or to offer the coaching to 25 people before you're certified, or take training? I've been coached by others and know what I've created will be transformational, as it's transforming my own life. I think it is important. There's a certain amount of training. I think you actually, I had training as I began to coach. I was coaching while I was in training. And there's certain things you actually do need to know about working with people. There's a lot of people I've come across who have been coached by people without training, who didn't have a good experience because the people didn't have a level of professionalism that you really ought to have. So I think it's great that you've been coached. That actually is a form of training. I feel like I learned a lot about being coached, and that was the very beginning of my training as a coach, was being a client of a coach and having the experience of what it was like to be coached and to do the work that I needed to work, that I needed to do to get where I wanted to go. Do I think you need to be certified before you start coaching? Definitely not. I always recommend moving towards certification because I'm a leader in the field, and what I say impacts people. People pay attention to what I say, and I want to be a voice for professional coaching. Really high level, great coaching that has a powerful impact on people's lives. And so working towards being certified is my way of saying it gives me an idea as a client of how much experience you have and how committed you are and how psychologically savvy you are. There's people doing coaching that really should be in therapy. And there are people doing coaching, calling it coaching, who are doing therapy that shouldn't be doing that. So I've learned a lot by being coached, by being in therapy, and by being trained. And my coach training was a 3-year program. And I still constantly continue to learn and grow so that I bring more and more to my coaching, experience when I'm working with people. So I hope that's helpful, Kathy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Alexandra wants to know where I got my teacup from. Yeah, this is Fortnum and Mason's it's one of my teacups. Fortnum and Mason's in London. You can order it online. Let's see. Nancy wants to know, what's the best book to start reading from me? It really depends on what's going on in your life. If you go to CherylRichardson.com and you look at my books, you can read the introductions for free. And what I would say, Nancy, is, and you could probably do that on Amazon, I would say that read the introductions and the right book will speak to you. If you are struggling with your outer life and you feel like you need more time for yourself, Take Time for Your Life is a good one. If you're struggling with confidence and courage, Stand Up for Your Life is a good one. If you want to cultivate a spiritual life and nurture your spiritual well-being and cultivate a belief in a power greater than you, can you hear my birds out there? The Unmistakable Touch of Grace will really help lead you to the belief that there's a power greater than you that's supporting you in your life, whether you believe it or not. The Art of Extreme Self-Care will give you practical things to do to take better care of yourself. And Waking Up in Winter will help you to understand what it means to take the hero's journey and to be at a transition point in your life where you're not sure what's next, but you know that you can't keep living the way that you're living. And it will teach you about the value of staying in limbo longer than feels comfortable and really cultivating an appreciation for the things that really matter in life. Like just cultivating your own life for the things that, for the things that really matter to you. And it's how I live a conscious life. And that's what it's my way of saying, this is how I do it. Let's see if any of this is helpful to you too. Or at the very least, know that you're not alone, that we all struggle and we all question things and we all, get confused, and there's a way to figure it out. There's a way to understand yourself and your life and to live more consciously and more authentically. And that's what I try to demonstrate. Anyway, let's see. Thank you so much. Oh, good, Jess. Awesome, right. So Dawn says, I beat myself up if people don't interact as much with my blog and Facebook writer page. How do you keep from being discouraged? It's interesting, Dawn. It's that fine line, right? If you're a business owner or somebody who's writing for the public, you want people to read your stuff and you want to feel like people are engaged. But Facebook and social media is only one way. I'll tell you, here's a really important thing I'll say to you, Dawn, an important lesson I learned. Excuse me. I communicate on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, but I don't let them rule my life. And I know that the percentage of people I reach here on Facebook is minute compared to the people that I reach every week when I send out my newsletter. I've got, a newsletter list that I've cultivated over the years. And there's different people that I reach on Instagram. But here's what I've learned. In the last 2 months, I've had a giveaway list, a gift giveaway list that I've cultivated for several years now, where people, you can go to my website and find it. If you search for the giveaway or gift giveaway, you'll find it. And every week I pick somebody's name from that list at random, somebody from any place in the world, and I send them a gift. As some of you know, when I was clearing clutter from my house, I found boxes of old cassette tapes, brand new cassette tapes, CDs, and videotapes of product that I had. And when I put out in the newsletter, this is why it's important to be subscribed to my newsletter, because that's where I communicate first and foremost. I asked people, hey, if you still listen to cassettes, if you still watch videos, send me an email. And I told them where to send it. And I am going to send gifts to people. Doesn't matter where you're from. And I had big boxes of product, and my assistant Lisa and I together worked, and I hand wrote cards for every single person, put in a grace card or a self-care card, and took one of the products, depending on what they had, if they had a VCR or a cassette player. And I sent gifts all over the world. We probably sent out 100 products so far. And I still do it every week. And I have to tell you, Dawn, that felt so good knowing that I was touching people in that way. I became much less preoccupied. Like, it just taught me something about we can reach people in our own backyard, and it's less about how many likes you get or how many fans you have or how many people interact, and more about that one individual whose life will never be the same because of you. And if you focus on that one person, like I would send a cassette tape out to somebody and I'd get an email thanking me saying, you have no idea, on the day that I received your gift, such and such happened, some difficult thing happened, and your gift gave me a belief in the universe again, in the goodness of life. And I think, you know what, if that's all I do for the rest of my life is touch that one person, I'm a happy camper. And so I guess, Dawn, I want to say, let's be more focused on the personal interactions we have with one another and the kindness and the impact that we can have, and less worried about the damn likes or dislikes or fans or friends or whatever. It's like, let's remember what really matters. I mean, that's what waking up in winter is all about. What really matters? Ugh, don't get me started. Okay. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Wendy. Oh, thanks, Julie. I don't know if I'm Louise's #1 student or colleague, but I'm a grateful one, and I love her very much. And yeah, so Venice wants to know, how does one go about finding a good coach? Referral is always the best way. If you send an email to Cheryl at CherylRichardson.com asking for our coach referral list, I have a handful of coaches whose work I'm familiar with. I have a sister, Carrie, who's one of them. I know her work inside and out. I don't get a referral fee, but I can only recommend personally people whose work I know. And so I have a small group, but they're also, if you go to coachfederation.org, you can get a list of coaches. They have a coach referral service, and you can plug in what it is you're looking for, and they've got a really great referral service. Interview 3 or 4 coaches. I think that's really important. And then, make sure you pick somebody who just you're so excited to work with. That's a good sign. It's like a good date. You've got chemistry and you just can't wait to get started. That would be a good idea. All right, let's see. Yes, Sally, if you're in limbo, you definitely want to read Waking Up in Winter. That'll help for sure. That's like one of the big messages I get from people is, oh, I'm not alone and it's okay to be here. And it is. Okay, let's see. Jamie says, hi, Cheryl. I'm very mindful about keeping a sense of balance of self and service. Do you have any suggestions or perhaps your own experience on this? I find I pull back from business to honor my health and well-being. Yeah, I think it's important to do both. And sometimes, Jamie, in the beginning, we actually have to pull away from service to focus on self in order to, like I would say the first year of my coaching 25 years ago was completely focused, like I worked to pay the bills while I focused on getting my own act together and taking care of my own self-care. And as a result of that, I became a better coach and better in business. So sometimes you need to do that. And other times, like now, you know, sending out a gift to someone at random is a form of service. I coach a handful of people pro bono. That's a form of service, but never at the cost of my self-care. So I make sure that there's a balance between the two. And sometimes, like right now, I have more space in my life to be of service, and I've worked hard for a lot of years, and I've saved money, and I'm financially able to do that, and I'm grateful for that. But there's been times where I've had to lean more on the work part and the business part and give a little less. But what I do give, I try to make it really kick-ass and good. So it is important. Sometimes you may need to pull back. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Anyway, Rachel says, lovely to see you, Cheryl. Hi, Rachel. I see your posts all the time, sweetheart. I see your face, and I just send you a virtual hug every time I see your name. I'm in limbo now. Lots of work changes. My business is soaring and finally finding balance as I've taken care of my elderly dog. Oh, my heart goes out to you with that. Such a noble and brave thing to be doing, taking care of an elderly pet family member. I still haven't moved, though I really want to. I feel drawn to the desert town of Alice Springs. It's not logical, but it's a gorgeous place. And I think it's about balance and courage. So Rachel, I guess what I'll say to you, take it, take it or leave it. What I mean by that is, this is just sort of intuitively what comes to me right off the bat is, you're taking care of an elderly animal. You might need to stay put until that animal, while you're caring for that animal in a familiar place. And when the animal, when your sweet dog passes, then it may be time for you to move. There's real wisdom in sometimes recognizing that life is calling us to stay put and be present for what's in front of us. Like taking care of an aging parent's a good example of that, and really engaging fully in that experience. Like when I look back on the loss of Poupon and the last 2 weeks of our life together, I'm so grateful that I was incredibly present, that I talked to him all the time, that I thanked him for our time together, that I let him know that I knew who he was, that he wasn't just a cat. He was a spiritual being in my life. And I didn't do anything else but just really be present for that. And his, putting him to rest in that way, very consciously and intentionally, as heartbreaking as it was, I don't have any regrets when I look back. And I'm glad that I had the space to do that. So, Rachel, you're going to move when the time is right for you to move, sweetheart. And I know you've wanted to do that for a while. You'll move when the time is right. And some part of you knows it's not the right time yet. And when it is, always go for the place that feels right, that is beautiful. This is what I know about you. It needs to have beauty. If it feels like it's gorgeous, we can't underestimate how the beauty of a place influences us. It gives us energy. It gives us courage. It gives us strength and power and intelligence. And you don't want to underestimate that. I don't know what it means about it not being logical, but listen, sometimes you just can't be logical. Sometimes you can't be. It's just the way it is, So I'm looking outside at the birds. There's all these birds. It's like, Rachel, go someplace beautiful. Tess wants to know, what inspired you to do this weekly meeting? It feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, I won't do it anymore. I love connecting with people. I love connecting with all of you. And that's the biggest thing I can say. Same thing with social media. I've had one rule. I don't post if I don't feel like it. I don't post out of obligation. If I don't feel inspired to write a blog one week, I have 20 years worth of blogs. I trust my intuition to pick one and I rerun it and trust that people will need that message. I think it's really important that we stay true to us. And I love being able to communicate with people all over the world. And I love that, whether 10 people join me here or 1,000 people or 10,000 people, I know the people that are supposed to hear me and the people that I'm supposed to hear from show up. And it feels good. And when it doesn't feel good, I'll do something different. So that's a simple answer. Okay, I need to go. It's so much later than I typically do. But it's been a while, so I thought I would. So remember, the Illustrated Herbiary. I love this book. I look forward to learning more about her. I'm going to go to her website, but it's a beautiful book. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everybody for joining me. It's always so grateful that you're here with me, and I look forward to the next time, which will probably be next week. And in the meantime, have a great week. Let some of that wildness out. Think about the history that has informed you and has influenced the choices and decisions you make, not only your direct personal history, but your ancestral lineage as well. Give some thought to that. Just let it simmer, percolate, and I will see you soon. Okay? Thanks so much, everybody. Lots of love. Bye.